6 p.m. in the Jan Lobo Division, South region of Cameroon. Same time right here in Douala. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. First, our major stories. The divisional officer of Idabato subdivision, the Dian division, southwest region of Cameroon, alongside the staff of Idabato council, have been abducted by armed men who are suspected to be pirates. The senior divisional officer for Dian is demanding that the Nigerian government cooperate in order to enable their release. And now to something else. 1st of October 1961, 1st of October 2024, exactly 63 years today since British Southern Cameroon gained independence by joining La Republic of Cameroon. Several streets remain deserted in the northwest and southwest regions of the country amidst security tensions linked to the over 7-year-old armed conflict. Tonight, we will tell you how the day went in these regions. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Once more, good evening, and thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. The divisional officer of Idabato subdivision, the Dian division, has been kidnapped today by yet-to-be-identified gunmen. Roland Ewane and another council staff were abducted at gunpoint, reportedly by pirates from Nigeria. The senior divisional officer for Dian has called for the attention of the Nigerian consul in the southwest region to ensure that proper investigations are carried out in order to ensure their release. Meanwhile, ghost town was observed today in Kumba and in Boya and other parts of the conflict northwest and southwest regions, as Annabella, our staff lady, tells us.
Official communique signs on Tuesday, October 1, 2024, the senior divisional officer for the Indian division appeals to the Consul General of Nigeria to collaborate with Nigerian authorities for the release of the abducted divisional officer for Idabato. The DO Roland Ewane was kidnapped from his residence in Idabato with another council staff, Eto'o Ismael, at about 2:15 a.m. reportedly by yet-to-be-identified pirates from Nigeria who whisked them off through the high seas on board flying boats. According to reports, the kidnapped DO of Idabato has been dissuading parents from sending their children to fish. Rather, he continuously ensures children go to school in Idabato. The reasons for his kidnap early Tuesday, October 1, are still unknown. Meantime, ghost town was observed across major towns and even villages of the northwest and southwest regions on Tuesday, October 1. In Boya, chief town of the southwest region, shops were locked, most streets were empty, with no human being spotted along the road. The people are reportedly respecting the lockdown announced usually by separatist fighters. Moving to Kumba in the Meme division, the story is just the same. Lockdown was respected with empty streets in most parts of the town. However, at the commercial avenue in Kumba town, few persons were spotted in the market as some people braved the threat and opened their shops in Kumba. October 1 was characterized by an atmosphere of insecurity in most parts of the southwest region.
63 years. Staff lady Annabella reporting there. In the same vein, historians say the Southern Cameroon's independence of 1st October 1961 was a culmination of a series of political events dominated by disagreement among the Southern Cameroonian politicians. The independence came on the heels of the two-option plebiscite conducted on Saturday, 11th February 1961. They say the results were largely favored by the UN rejection of the PM Kali's option of independence. Fomi Armstrong Sanda reports.
3 years after 1961, October 1st remains a pivotal date in the history of Cameroon. Historical scholar and researcher Gentle Clovis traces the October 1st, 1961 independence of the former British Southern Cameroon to a long and dragging disagreement between John Go Foncha and Emmanuel Lifaka Endele.
Foncha, example of KNDP wanting independence of Southern Cameroon, separation from Nigeria, independence of Southern Cameroon in association with Nigeria. Endele of KNC and later CPNC, supported by people and Mbile, wanted independence of Southern Cameroon in association or integration with Nigeria, and that was a key division. Because of that, Britain organized two outstanding conferences, the London Conference of June 1957 and the Manfred Conference of August 1959. The key motive of this conference was to reconcile or bring Foncha and Ndele to one agreement over issue of independence for Southern Cameroon. But in these two conferences, they still disagreed.
The Ndele-Foncha discord wasn't the only disagreement among the then Southern Cameroonian politicians. Mr. Gentle Clovis says there was a third and even more popular force driven by PM Kale.
He imposed on UN, put pressure on UN for a third option, which was independent Southern Cameroon, and it was the most popular option. He was supported for independent Southern Cameroon by Chief Manga William of Victoria, who had a party called Cameroon Commonwealth Party, supported by Chief Nyenti Tambel Manfe, who had a party called Cameroon Engineers Party. But unfortunately, it was rejected.
Unable to agree, their fate and future was handed over for the United Nations to decide.
Because of that, UN took into consideration only two options. A plebiscite was called on the 11th of February 1961, and the key actors here were Foncha of KNDP, who was campaigning for independence in reunification with the Republic of Cameroon, and Ndele of CPNC, supported by PM Kale, who were campaigning for Southern Cameroon to vote in association with Nigeria. On the 11th of February 1961, a plebiscite was called, and Foncha won massively for reunification with the Republic of Cameroon. Therefore, Foncha called for a conference for all Anglophones known as the Bamenda All-Party Conference in June 1961, where they wanted to agree on how their union with the Republic of Cameroon would look like. After the Bamenda Conference, June 1961 now, Foncha led the Southern Cameroon delegation to Mfumban. So after the Mfumban Conference of July 1961 now, Southern Cameroon now agreeing under a federal structure of federal constitution with the Republic of Cameroon.
This federal system, however, did not live long. In 1972, President Ahmadu Ahidjo pushed through a new document that abolished the federal system. He granted himself more powers and renamed the country as the United Republic of Cameroon. After assuming the presidency, President Paul Biya pushed through a revised constitution in 1984 through the Republic of Cameroon.
5 years after the holding of the major national dialogue, the war in the conflict northwest and southwest regions persists as lives continues to be lost, houses burnt with civil persons displaced. While the opposition points out at lack of will to end the crisis, the CPDM family gives a long tick to Biya's regime. In the report coming up next, our reporter Innocent Aza will be accessing the outcome of that come together.
Now 5 years since the major national dialogue aims at solving the Anglophone crisis held in Yaoundé, with giant resolutions amongst them the special status for the northwest and southwest regions, the presidential plan for reconstruction and development for the two English-speaking regions, as well as others, were documented for implementation. To the opposition, the government has done nothing significant to be applauded so far. The implementation of major resolutions are mostly on paper. Has it enabled people to return home? The answer is no. Less than 30% of what was previewed was done. Since 2022, the government of Cameroon has not chipped in a franc for the development and reconstruction plan. 7 billion francs CFA was required for the reconstruction in 2022, but the Cameroonian government failed to contribute its own quota, same as in 2023 when 8 billion francs CFA was needed. CPDM supporters saw the 2019 major national dialogue as an avenue to restore peace in the troubled Anglophone regions. It was a step to restore peace. The resolutions were short-term for some persons and long-term for others. Regarding the presidential plan for reconstruction and development for the Anglophone regions, the weak financial implication of Cameroon is questioned. Less than 15% of the budget initially previewed, estimated at 89 billion francs CFA, was mobilized on September 30, 2021. It is useless to engage in mega investments and you stop at only 15%. Failure to attain the peak implies beating along the bush. It also shows lack of will to end the crisis. The ruling party deeply believes a lot of grievances raised by Anglophones have been met by the government. Despite atrocities that prevailed after the major national dialogue, government authorities are adamant everything is under control.
Innocent Aze reporting there. Limbe taxi drivers have called off a strike action after consultations with the city mayor. The taxi drivers were to go on a strike following an alleged assault by one of their colleagues by some elements of the Navy in Limbe. Our Southwest Chief Correspondent Davison Maimo explains to us what sparked the tension.
Saturday, September 28, 2024, tension soured in Limbe as taxi drivers threatened to strike following allegations that one of their colleagues was brutally beaten by some element of the Marines and taken to their naval base headquarters the previous night.
Military people, they wholly, they beat us, so they go for camp. So it reach for plenty drivers, their ES, so they vex the whole half mile. We get more than 200 to 300 drivers. They want strike. Speaking on behalf of the various taxi drivers syndicate in Limbe, a young Ivo Eto'o, president of Essential Taxis, the timely intervention of the Limbe City Mayor, Paul Efomeli Sombengale, calmed the drivers and prevented the strike from escalating. The city mayor really advised us like a father. He said his doors are open. At any given time, if situations like that come, we should call him. And all of us, we know that we are working in harmony and we need peace in Limbe. So we don't have any strike in Limbe.
The presence of the city mayor and his second deputy at the naval base headquarters is said to have secured the release of the detained driver from the hands of the Marines.
As the military people, they see we, and with the presence of the city mayor, they don't give me the boy, the driver.
The taxi driver syndicate leaders expressed gratitude for the mayor's effort as the situation was diffused. Meantime, the injured driver is currently receiving treatment at the Limbe Regional Hospital.
And the city mayor has already paid all of the bills.
While the FACO Senior Divisional Officer, Viang Mekala, has ordered a thorough investigation into the incident. The incident comes to highlight the importance of effective leadership and communication in resolving conflict and maintaining community peace.
From the Southwest region, we now take you to the Littoral region, where residents of the Douala 2 subdivision, precisely at Bois de Senj, say attacks orchestrated by bandits have become rampant. Recently, an inhabitant of the area got shot to death by one of the suspects. Ese Luciliangu visited the Bois de Senj neighborhood, where she spoke to some inhabitants and now came up with this report.
Inhabitants of neighborhoods in Bois de Senj in the Douala 2 subdivision for some time have been living in agony. This is due to rising crime rates and gang activities in the area. The residents report frequent incidents of theft, assault, and intimidation, which leaves them in fear.
This is our quarter. We are suffering for thief. We have a normal thief inside this quarter. We are suffering. And they kill one woman, one boy inside the Carrefour Kilo. They TV back, take telephone, collect money to the back and go with the back.
The attacks perpetrated by men of the underworld, who usually are under the influence of hard drugs, begin as from 7 p.m. Those who leave their houses brave the odds. They start smoking as from 7 p.m. When it gets them high, they experience mood changes and courage to carry out their atrocity.
Cannot enter here late time, around 9, 10 o'clock, 11. We are locking this door before 8 o'clock because of thief. Small boy then. I am 19-year-old.
Faced with this growing danger, youths of Kowet, Benghazi, Kotomberi, Carrefour Eden, or Fengujon Bois de Senj have mobilized, while the forces of law and order have reinforced patrols. We decided to go out every evening, if we can, sometimes from midnight to 6 a.m. We do patrols in shift.
At first it used to be like, you cannot pass a week that you have not heard someone crying like, oh my foot, oh my back, all those type of things. But all this while things have been, the security system in this area is really under control.
A series of complaints from the population and investigations launched led to the arrest of a suspect by name Zev, said to have been giving the people of Bois de Senj sleepless nights. However, the people hope local authorities will tighten security.
Now we talk something else. Several properties have been destroyed with circulation perturbed for inhabitants of Bandom village in Fokwe subdivision, West region of Cameroon. This comes after the entire village of Bandom was struck by heavy runoffs that came as a result of heavy downpour. The inhabitants of Bandom village are now calling for the government's intervention, as Swaji Kangable tells us.
Little Chongwa Jacqueline, with bruises all over her face, was one of the fortunate victims of the floods that took inhabitants of Bandom village in the Menua division by shock. Inhabitants say it was the worst incident ever recorded in their locality. It was very bad this time around. Since the time of our ancestors, we have never seen such. What happened? We have never seen it. The floods destroyed a primary school, hospital, as well as the sacred shrine of the Bandom village, and also bridges linking the village to others. The first time we had floods here, it was light. But the third time we are experiencing this flood, it has crippled the entire village. This was the area where we usually fetch water or treat our cocoa beans, and even cattle come here to drink water before continuing their movement. Unfortunately, the old bridge is also gone. Due to the effects of the floods, with the roads blocked by debris, canoes are now used to cross people from one end of the village to another before they get commissioned motorcycles to continue their journey. The people of Bandom village are calling for urgent government intervention. We don't have anywhere to go to. Pitches have been destroyed by running water. No roads too. We are calling on our president to come to our rescue. Humans weren't the only one affected by the floods. Inhabitants of Bandom village are now looking up to government for urgent aid, since most now lack shelter.
And now to sports. Sports analysts say the sanction imposed by a football governing body, FIFA, on Samuel Eto'o is a lesson. While respecting the 6-month suspension from all matches of the national football team, it is hoped that the sanction will help Samuel Eto'o to be more discreet and diplomatic as president of the Cameroon Football Federation. Let's take a listen to Lawrence Kede and Raymond Elume in this excerpt cut by Babla Jonathan.
Sometimes the law for one's nation can push someone really to go in and really cry out all injustices done to the nation. I think owing to what happened in the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, where I think Samuel Eto'o criticized poor officiating of the game against Brazil. I think it bridges FIFA laws on especially fair play, that even though football is not a perfect game and referees can sometimes be biased, fair play has to prevail, and I think FIFA says that fair play didn't prevail, as Cameroon, after the defeat, Eto'o had to criticize poor officiating and now been suspended for 6 months. I think the suspension can equally be lifted. I think one of the things we should learn is that there have been poor diplomacy, poor handling of such a situation, because in other contexts, many are the countries that have fallen into this issue of injustice in games of football, but hardly would you hear the president of the federation speak out loudly and criticize the game. So generally what happens is, if you have your pressmen behind you, you give them the information, and the media will carry the cry of Cameroon, the cry of the indomitable lionesses, to higher heights.
We'll say in Latin was impersonal. So it is on Samuel Eto'o's person and not as the FECAFOOT institution or as the Cameroon Football Federation, which concerns the nation. It is on Samuel Eto'o and on Samuel Eto'o alone, who has not got to be present in any matches starting from Kenya, which is some days today, till the appropriate time when the ban will end. That's in 6 months' time. So it doesn't affect the Cameroon Football Federation. It doesn't affect Cameroon as a nation.
And those reactions were taken shortly following the suspension of Samuel Eto'o, president of the Cameroon Football Federation, FECAFOOT, by the football governing body, FIFA. That's it for this first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. On the line in Boya is Professor Victor Julius Ngo. He is a historian. Good evening, Prof. It's a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight. October 1st is a significant date in the history of Cameroon. It is a day British Southern Cameroon gained independence by joining the Republic of Cameroon. Can you remind us of what happened on that fateful day?
Yes, thank you very much. I should begin by saying that what happened on the 1st of October 1961 was in fulfillment of UN Resolution 1608. After the Yaoundé tripartite talks of August 1961, it was agreed that Southern Cameroon will achieve independence by exchange of notes, that is the transfer of sovereignty, and therefore the constitution which was agreed to between the KNDP led by Foncha and the UC led by Amadou Ahidjo was signed on the 1st of September 1961. So on the 25th of September 1961, Queen Elizabeth II issued a proclamation, which made it clear that the British trusteeship will end on the 30th of September at midnight. And still on that same day, 25th of September, the British military camps and military equipment were handed over to the government of the Republic of Cameroon. I want to emphasize on that. The British camps and the British equipment in southern Cameroon were handed over to the government of the Republic of Cameroon. Then on the 27th of September 1961, there was an exchange of notes. The British ambassador, C.E. King, sent the exchange of notes to President Amadou Ahidjo, informing the president, based on what was agreed at the Yaoundé and tripartite talks, that the British administration will end midnight, 30th of September. And that same day, Amadou Ahidjo, through the foreign minister of Cameroon, Charles Okala, accepted what the exchange of notes said. Then, on the 29th of September, Foncha saw off the British Commissioner Eto'o field on the 30th at 5 p.m. And then later on, Amadou Ahidjo arrived at the Tico airport, and from the Tico airport, Ahidjo and Foncha and the deputy British commissioner saw the lowering of the British flag, which is commonly called the Union Jack. So from Tico, Foncha, the British and deputy commissioner and Ahidjo drove over to Boya. And at 8 p.m., the British deputy commissioner offered a dinner to Amadou Ahidjo. Then at 10 p.m., Amadou Ahidjo offered a reception to almost 200 guests at the Boya Mountain Hotel. Meanwhile, the Boy Scouts did fireworks all over Boya. And then at 12 midnight, the Southern Cameroons was declared independent upon its joining the Republic of Cameroon. On that day, 30th September, at the Boya Mountain Hotel, 3 speeches were read, one by the British Colonial Secretary. The speech was read by the Deputy Commissioner. Later on, the message from the Queen was read by the British ambassador to Cameroon, and after that there was the message to the Cameroon nation by Amadou Ahidjo. The next day, 1st of October, the independent address was read, and Amadou Ahidjo left Boya back to Yaoundé. It is important to note that there were also similar celebrations in Yaoundé and in Douala. On the 30th of September in Yaoundé, there was a football match between Cameroonian students in France and Cameroonian students in Cameroon. The next day, 1st of October, after Amadou had finished in Boya, he flew over to Yaoundé, and the celebrations of 1st October continued. Meanwhile, in Boya, Fufancha made a speech in the Southern Cameroon's House of Assembly and the Southern Cameroon's House of Chiefs, joint speech.
Now, what about the third minority group who neither wanted to join the Republic of Cameroon or the Federal Republic of Nigeria? What was their fate after that plebiscite?
I think that's why I'm sure you are referring to the third option. Those who wanted Southern Cameroon to achieve independence as a separate state. After the November 1960 London Conference, the supporters of that option moved over and joined this KNDP, most of them. And the leader of that group, PM Calais, who had founded the Cameroon United Party, and gave up that option and joined the KNDP. So that group, that option was no longer viable on the 1st of October 1961.
Do you think the UN decision not to consider the third minority group who proposed independence aided in sowing the seed of trouble that we have today in Cameroon?
KUP, which with its main platform being independence for Southern Cameroon, he did not have support. His support was almost non-existent. Therefore, he abandoned that cause and supported the KNDP. And it is important to note that even when that option was mentioned in New York in 1959, and it did not get the popular support from the Southern Cameroon politicians. And in June 1965, John Fufancha made it very clear in his message to West Cameroon that the third option was not given because it was not on the KNDP platform. Fufancha made that very, very clear in his speech to West and Cameroonians in June 1965. So it is not appropriate to say the UN refused to. What should be said as far as that point is concerned, that if the UN, if the Southern Cameroon politician had presented a united front, that would have been possible. But again, it should be noted that the long-term policy of the United Kingdom was for Southern Cameroon to achieve independence as part of Nigeria, while the strong position of the UPC, the OK, and the KNDP eventually was to achieve independence by joining the Republic of Cameroon.
Live from Boya, that is the chieftain of the Southwest region, that was Professor Victor Julius Gore, a historian based in that part of the country. That's what put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for always choosing ETV. Coming up next in some few minutes is Equinoxe Soir with Serge Alain Odu. See you tomorrow, same time, God willing. Bye-bye for now.